Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel if you're a regular viewer. If this is your first time hanging out with me, welcome. My name's Tara and I like to talk about all things sewing, vintage inspired and DIY style. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, then please do click subscribe so that you can hang out with me throughout all of my sewing adventures. In today's video, I've got some new fabrics to show you and one absolutely epic vintage pattern. So as you know, if you hang out with me a lot, I have been working on my capsule wardrobe and I have made the effort to be really cohesive in terms of the sort of fabrics and the colours that I'm using and adding into my wardrobe so that I get just a lot more wear out of what I already have. And the first two fabrics are both from my favourite local fabric shop, which I do mention quite a lot. I'm not sponsored by them, I just love them, and that's Jacob's Haberdashery. First one is this really lovely sagey green, and from a distance it looks like it's got little tiny polka dots on, but when you get really up close, it's stars. The most tiny, little, delicate, pretty speckles of stars all over this cotton. It's a cotton poplin, and I think it's a little Rose and Hubble cotton poplin. So it's probably more, you know, supposed to be used for quilting, but their patterns and prints are just so pretty. So I've got a couple of meters of this, and I am going to be making one of the sun tops that I make, but I'm going to use the version that I re-pattern cut myself with a really lovely billowing sort of 30s style sleeve. I'll put pictures in as I go, which I call the moon blouse, because I'm really imaginative. You know, you've got your sun top with the, you know, for the sun, and then you've got this evening version to wear and dance under the moon. So that's my first make, and I think it'll go really, really well with the vintage trousers that I love. I did do a video about those as well. I've realised since last week that I am incapable of adding cards and doing much tech stuff. You know, I can sew, I can mend sewing machines, but I can't do other forms of technology, so I apologise. I will do my absolute best to link things, but if I don't, I am sorry, and I appreciate you taking the time to sort of go back through my videos and watch them. And then the other one is also a Rose and Hubble, a cotton poplin, and I presume again a quilting cotton, but it's this lovely sort of, it's a bit Liberty looking actually, really pretty again, sagey greens, got some lilacs and blues and purples, and yeah, I thought this was really gorgeous. And I am either going to make, I think I got 3 or 4 meters of this because it is quite narrow, and it was about £7 a meter, I think. This is just, it's lovely and soft actually. It's not got that kind of cardboardy feel that you get from some quilting cottons. So I'm either going to make another one of these, the dress that I'm wearing, which is a vintage pattern that I probably showed you in my very, very first video way back when, in the summer. I'm either going to do another one of these dresses because I love it so much, or I'm thinking that I might do a hack of the Nina Lee London Bloomsbury blouse and turn that into a dress. So I'm undecided. I'm leaning more towards the Nina Lee actually, because that I've seen a Vampire's Wife dress that is along those lines, and you may know, regular viewers, that I have a love of Vampire's Wife dresses. So keep posted because there's more coming about that at some point in the not too distant future. So I'm not entirely sure. I'd be interested to hear your comments down below if you have any thoughts on that. But very beautiful, and I will be making that very, very quickly because I'm in a mad sewing craze at the moment. I can't stop sewing. Now the next 3 fabrics were given to me, for full disclosure, but they have been given to me in lieu, can't say the word, of payment for some work that I'm doing with my lovely friend Nikki, who has an online fabric shop, and sometimes she has a pop-up shop. Lockdown has made that quite tricky. Missy Mop Fabrics, and she has the most incredible eye for fabric, and it's all vintage or dead stock or end of run, and you know, a lot of really high-end beautiful fabric. So I chose all of these fabrics and they've been given to me, but I have actually done the work for them. So I'm not entirely sure if that's an ad or, you know, or a sponsor or whatever. They are gifted, but they're gifted in lieu of payment for work. So I'm not entirely sure what the protocol is about that. First one is this lovely satiny viscose with this beautiful, very vintage looking floral print, which completely fits my current colour palette. And she actually, I think this is the last bit of this fabric. I don't think there's any more. It's gone now. I got the last bit. And she had called it Tara on her website because she knows, as I, you know, I love dark florals. So I couldn't not get fabric that had been named for me. I am going to be making some kind of reproduction 40s dress with this. I'll be cutting the pattern myself, I think. So that's the first one, and really beautiful. I'm very excited. The next fabric I chose is this black, this sort of abstract dotty print on it. It's a lovely sort of crepey drape. It's really beautiful. I'm very, very excited about this. And again, I've got quite a bit of this one. I'm going to be making a vintage inspired 1940s style dress that again I'm going to be cutting the pattern for. I'll show you I'll insert a little image of the dress that I want to do. I'm nearly 100% that I'm going to do that with that fabric. And then the final one is a viscose challis. I think it would be classed as a challis, and it's this black with poppies red. So it's a little bit out of, because I wanted sort of more pinky berry colours, but out of this one I want to make a very Vampire's Wife style dress. And I think because I really love the fit of this bodice, I'm going to use this bodice, and then I'm just going to sort of do a kind of hacking some patterns together and a bit of my own pattern cutting. But I think I'm going to do this as a sew along, which might be quite fun to do and might be quite interesting. So, and it may well be my special Christmas dress, because it is, for me, this is quite a Christmassy fabric. So I'm very, very excited about all of those, and I'm at the moment doing all this work for Nikki and for her website, so I'll link it all below and you can go and check her out because it's fab. My last thing to show you is something that I am just over the moon about, and it is this most incredible vintage, it's all falling apart, vintage McCall's pattern for this. They call it a smock, but I sort of thought it was more of a jacket. So it's this, I think it's very, like, it's an early 50s pattern. So it's this oriental style or inspired jacket with these little blouse and sleeves, the mandarin collar, it's got these bullion knot fastening buttons, and then this dragon. I thought it was a snake actually when I saw it on eBay. I'm not usually very lucky on eBay. I see loads of things that I really like and I always sort of miss out. But this, oh yeah, Mrs. Smock it says at the top there, and then it's got a little picture where you can see they're suggesting chain stitch, because inside this there's the pattern and then there's the transfer drawings for what turns out to be a dragon, and then there's also the instructions on how to do these bullion knots, which I've always really loved. I used to see them a lot in the cloth house in Soho, which sadly has now closed, and they're really expensive and I didn't know how to do them. So you have the pattern, it has been cut, some of it's a little bit ripped, but I will preserve, repair and copy, because to me this is like treasure and history and just everything good. And so there's the pattern for that, and then the thing that I'm ever so excited about is the original unused, I think, transfer for the dragons, for each of the pockets. So that is just, I cannot wait to do that. As always, the thing that I love, I think absolutely the most about vintage patterns is how beautiful all the drawings and the instructions are. And the thing that I always am wondering is why, when they were so good and so easy to follow and so clearly expressed, what happened to the sort of big commercial patterns? Why are instructions so awful these days? I am at a loss, really. And then you have the really lovely instructions for all the embroidery of the dragons on the pockets. So I'm really looking forward to making that. I think I'm going to do that in some kind of wool or maybe a velvet or something, so it's like a proper coat that can be worn rather than a around the house smock, which is what I think it was meant to be. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my new fabrics and the vintage sewing pattern. It's really lovely to spend time and talk about literally my most favourite things in the world with you, and I really appreciate all your lovely comments and suggestions and feedbacks. It really does make my day, month, year, to be honest. So do keep letting me know your thoughts and any suggestions of things that you would like me to be doing on my channel. I'm all ears. Whatever you're doing this week, I hope that you are surrounded by friends, family and laughter, and that you get some all important you time doing something that you love, and I hope it's a bit of sewing. Until next time, my lovelies, take care. Bye.